if whenever things are going badly for you and you lose, you start blaming somebody else, then you don't have what it takes to be in this job. Because there are a lot of times when things don't go our way or my way.
All right, I'm not one to cast aspersions here, but wasn't this the same guy who railed against Fox News? But I digress. Donald Trump is whining, and that's essentially what the president is saying, and he's just got to make his case to the American people. Joe Concha joins us right now, the Hill Media reporter. Does he have a point? Does the president have a point that Donald Trump is spending too much time complaining about a rigged system than addressing it head on, if that were the case?
Neil, you have too much class to cast aspersions. I, however, don't have much. So I will cast aspersions. And yes, this is a president that is more thin-skinned than, who's thin-skinned? Alec Baldwin, right? And he is railed against, say, Fox News more than any president has ever railed against one media outlet and media coverage in general. There's also the same administration, by the way, that has rejected more FOIA requests, that's Freedom of Information Act requests, than any other administration in history, and they set that record last year with plenty of time to go. So probably shouldn't be given too many lessons on the media and complaining about it at this point, considering that this president has made an art of it in his 7.5 years in office.
Now, I know, Joe, and you and I chatted about this before. Your last appearance with me just got thousands of emails. I can see why Donald Trump feels the system is rigged against him insofar as the media coverage of words he has said and allegations that have come up sometimes from over a decade ago versus very real, very relevant emails that have leaked out from Hillary Clinton, some as recently as weeks, months ago. So he says that's not fair. And we've crunched the numbers, and he's right in this respect that the media will offer 10 times the coverage of his travails than hers. But how does he address that without looking like a baby?
I think he needs to stop addressing it, because if you look at the poll numbers, they're not moving in a direction that he needs them to with 3 weeks to go in order to win this election. While it's really great fodder for guys like you and me and in this bubble that we live in, this media bubble, voters don't really care about it at home. His core base does, and they'll be very angry about it. But as far as bringing in independents, they want to know how he's going to create jobs, how he's going to fight ISIS, so on and so forth. And the slam media bias has always been a losing proposition for Republicans, and this will be no exception. But boy, you're right about the numbers, Neil. You said 10-1. Just last week, we had a 23-1 ratio as far as ABC, NBC, and CBS covering negative news about Trump and allegations against him by women about unwanted sexual advances. Right, but only 1 minute given to Clinton and WikiLeaks, which is very newsworthy stuff. I even did a story yesterday. You got to dig into these things sometimes. Washington Post ABC News poll actually showed that Trump is only down 4 points. You're like, okay, that's the lead. But when you dig into the questions of the poll, there were 38 questions. 6 pertained to Trump and allegations against him by those women. 0 about Clinton and WikiLeaks. So sometimes bias is very, very apparent, and sometimes it's very subtle. And that was just one example of how even a poll and poll questions can be biased at this point.
You know, Joe, I talked to a lot of media types. We work in the same business, so some left to center, some maybe not so left to center. And they explain why the WikiLeaks stuff is hard to explain, because it's layered. It's an email, and it's an exchange, it's a quid pro quo. It's not as simple or as salacious as a sex scandal or provoking women or something like that. And I immediately said, well, make it a point to explain it then, because it matters. But it falls on deaf ears.
Yeah, we're in a world of fast food journalism, Neil, at this point. And to explain something that may take a couple of paragraphs, as opposed to Donald Trump was accused of XYZ. Sex always beats substance. Sizzle always beats substance. And that's the rule here. We're in a world of clicks and Twitter and social media and a blitzkrieg of news. And the days of Watergate and long investigations and even Spotlight with the Boston Globe, the story that won Best Picture last year at the Academy Awards, those days are long gone. Now it's just all about instant gratification and easy sells. But here's the problem, Neil. When this election is over, and if Donald Trump goes away and the polls say that he will, you're going to see a purge in terms of ratings and clicks like we have never seen before, when there's no Trump left to talk about.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Joe, always good catching up. Thank you very, very much.
Have fun in Vegas.
All right, we will. Always working, Joe. Always working.
Sure.
All right.